What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. It is Monday. It is Monday. It is Monday. It is motherfucking Monday. I got a model on the runway with the gunplay and the gun. Hey, I was about to spit bars on y'all. Got a lot of great questions. If I don't get to your question this week, just ask next week, and we'll keep this thing moving. But y'all are getting good. Y'all leaving me some long questions. Like, I gotta get Floyd Mayweather to read some of these questions because y'all leaving some long ones. But it's good. Let me try to jam through them and get it cracking. First question from Miguel. One, what would be some realistic fights that you would like to be made on the Mayweather Pacquiao undercard? Now, actually, I'm going to skip that question because I actually made a dedicated video about that very subject. Make sure you check it. It's on the channel, and it's called something like the 10 best, most realistic fights for Mayweather Pacquiao. And I really took my time with it. It was thorough, and I really broke down some realistic fights with guys that aren't booked up that I would like to see. So I'm going to skip to your next question. Number two, if Triple G defeats Martin Murray, which he did, who else would you like to see him up against 2015 or beyond? As always, thanks for the vids. Thank you for viewing. Now, for Triple G, I've kind of touched on this subject, but me personally, there's only a slew of fights I want to see him fight at 160. I understand he's trying to unify, but I want to see him fight the Andy Lee, Peter Quillen winner, Hassan Nadam versus David Lemieux winner, Cotto, Canelo, and that's really about it. If he doesn't fight one of those fights next, because I don't want to see any more Adamas or Gabe Rosados moving up or Daniel Gill, because to me, those guys are straight. They're good, but they're not world class. Like if you look at Matthew Macklin, he fought Sergio Martinez, and that was his big step up challenge, and he lost that fight. You know what I mean? And he recently lost after the Gennady Golovkin beaten. So I really don't consider a lot of the guys world beaters, but I give credit to Triple G for just moving through the ranks and becoming a fan favorite. I just want to see him fight somebody that we all know and love that is a little bit more proven. And if it's not one of those guys that I mentioned, I would like to see him move up, fight a guy like Andre Ward, Carl Froch, something in that whole area. Next question is from Ben Franklin. Do you think Thurman deserved to fight the winner or loser of Mayweather Pacquiao fight, or would that be too premature at this time, knowing Mayweather is making his exit this year? Great videos, keep up the good work. If Keith Thurman gets past Robert Guerrero, absolutely, because and it also depends if Mayweather gets past Pacquiao. But you like kind of going off your question, if they both get past their next challenge, yeah, I'm up for it. I think that's an interesting match, and if Thurman gets past Guerrero, then he'll be more proven than he currently is. And same thing with Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. If Mayweather emerges victorious, then we've already seen him face this generation's best. So why not a young up-and-coming guy like Keith Thurman, who will then have had impressive win under his belt, most likely, if he beats Guerrero. This is like all hypothetical. So I have no problem with that fight. And to me, beating Robert Guerrero is probably, that puts him up there. So I would like to see Keith Thurman or Amir Khan, if he continues to keep winning, versus Mayweather if Mayweather gets past Pacquiao, personally. Next question, Big Boss Master 123. Who would you favor in the rematch, Khan or Maidana? I got to be honest with that. I would favor Maidana. And I think both fighters have improved significantly from when they first met. However, its styles make fights. And the things that Maidana had to improve on and has improved upon, I think would suit him well in a fight, in a rematch with Amir Khan. Amir Khan has never, in my opinion, really struggled boxing. He's always been a good boxer. Where he struggled was making those executive decisions when he got clipped, when he got hurt. He would try to tough it out and show too much heart and didn't do what was reasonable. So to me, I can't really gauge how much Amir Khan has improved. He looked sensational in his last two fights with Collazo and Devin Alexander. But to me, he's always been that fast guy. He's always been a good boxer. And he hasn't went in there with the slugger. I see the biggest flaw I see with Amir Khan is the guys that put immense amount of pressure on him and or have power, or both. And I say pressure because if you look at the Lamont Peterson fight, I think whether you had Khan winning or Peterson winning, Peterson showed some vulnerabilities. Now, that was pre-Virgil Hunter, but he exposed to me that Amir Khan needs work with his inside fight game. It's not that good. And he doesn't like, he was using his elbows and stuff. He doesn't like that crowding pressure. So a style like Maidana, especially an improved Maidana with the better jab, Maidana never struggled being tough. He never struggled with heart. I mean, he got dropped by Khan in the first round by a vicious body shot, perfect body shot. So props to Khan for that. And he got right back up and then end up giving Khan all he could handle in the later rounds. So that shows the man has heart. He got dropped, I think, 3 times versus Victor Ortiz. So he's never struggled. Maidana's never struggled with heart or power. It was he lacked some of the boxing fundamentals, and I think since he's teamed up with Robert Garcia, he's improved. So until I see Khan look as sensational as he did against Collazo and Alexander, against a pure pressure fighter who's good and has that type of power, game-changing, equalizing power, in a matchup like Khan-Maidana, I'd have to favor Maidana because I think he gained a whole hell of a lot of experience in his last 5 or so fights, fighting the likes of Josito Lopez, Jesus Soto Caras, Broner, Mayweather twice. So I would really, honestly, I could be wrong. Khan already beat him. But based on the improvements that have been made with both guys, they've both improved. But I see Maidana as improving better in that style matchup, if that makes any sense. Amir Khan was always a good boxer. So it's interesting. Khan's not out of the question to win it, but me personally, I would favor Maidana because his reckless aggression has become more tamed and controlled to a degree. And you know what I mean? This is a guy who went in there with the #1 pound for pound and landed a couple shots and, you know what I mean, tried to hold his own. So I would favor Maidana in that rematch. Next question. If Maidana versus Amir 2 happens and Amir loses, would Amir still be a good opponent, considered a good opponent for Pacquiao? If no, why? If yes, why? It depends. This is all speculative. If Pacquiao beats Mayweather, then he's conquered the mountain. And if Khan loses, then I don't really see a need or that fight being made. Now, if both guys win whoever they fight next, like if Pacquiao beats Mayweather and Khan beats his next opponent, then that's cool. But I mean, if he loses, and depending on how bad he loses, like if he got knocked out or something, then I don't really see him being considered a good opponent. You got to crawl and climb back up that ladder. Next question is for Juan. You have so much talent at the 154-pound division. Jamal, Charlo, Adeslani Laura, Canelo, Cotto, Andre Vanes, K9 Bundreds. Who do you see coming out on top of the division? Now that's a real tough question for me, just based on the fact that some of the guys who I've seen their skill, they haven't ultimately been tested at that high caliber. Guys like Demetrius Andrade, he looks very skilled. Jamal Charlo, or Jamal, I think is the better one. One of the Charlo brothers looks really good, looks impressive, but we haven't seen them in there with an A-lister. So it's kind of hard to say who would emerge in the top of that pile. There's a lot of talent. It's a stacked division, but I would honestly say it would break down to the 4 people. That would be Adeslani Laura, Canelo, Miguel Cotto, and Demetrius Andrade, with the strong wild card being the better Charlo, which is, I believe, Jamal Charlo. But that's why we need some kind of tournament to really promote and get to the bottom of it, weed out who's who, and see who is the best. But that's a good question. But it boils down to one of those 4 guys. It's just too early for me to say that Jamal Charlo could beat a Cotto, because I have more data on Cotto to go off of. I've seen more Canelo against guys like Laura's and Canelo versus Mayweather. So I have a little bit more data on Canelo and Cotto, but I think Demetrius Andrade, Jamal, they can give any of those guys a run for their money, possibly beat them. It's just, we have to wait and see. Good question. This comes from Deep Kill 15. Who should be Andre Ward's next opponent? What do you think of Amir Khan versus Tim Bradley being on the undercard of Mayweather and Pacquiao? I'm going to Quentin Tarantino and do this backwards. I'm going to answer your second question first. And Amir Khan, Timothy Bradley, I love it. Great fight. It was a fight that was supposed to happen years ago, but didn't. Bradley wanted to stay safe, basically, and didn't want to get removed from the Pacquiao sweepstakes by taking a risky fight, and it worked out for him. So they're still relevant. They're still good fighters. I would like to see that now. First question, who should be Andre Ward's next opponent? Now, I'm from the Bay, but I'm not biased. I like Andre Ward, but I think he should fight a sensible fight. I don't think he should go to the top dog, or, you know what I mean, whoever's viewed at the top in the top 3 slots. He's been on a long layoff. He dealt with some legal issues. He's with a new imprint with Jay-Z's Rock Nation. So I honestly think Andre Ward should fight a respectable guy. Like, don't go all the way to the bottom of the barrel. Don't fight like Leo Santa Cruz has been fighting his sparring partners and stuff. I'm not saying he has to dip down that low, but just a good, credible name. Maybe a guy who's taken some losses recently, but they still have a chance to win. They're still a respected name in the sport. So I would say Andre Ward versus a guy like George Groves. We've seen him lose to Carl Froch, but he also beat James DeGale. He won his last fight. Something like that would be a good fight without going back. Like I said, I don't think Andre Ward needs to fight a Rod Salka in his division, but it doesn't make sense to be on a long layoff for over a year and necessarily jump up career-wise. So I would say a guy like George Groves or a guy like Lucien Bute. Lucien Bute and Andre Ward was a highly talked about fight, and then Carl Froch beat Lucien Bute. So it never really happened, but we were getting close to having that fight happen, and then again, boxing happens, and Carl Froch beat him, and we never really got to see that. Lucien Bute has since lost to Jean Pascal. I believe he's training with Freddie Roach now. So those are two good options, I think, that are realistic and sensible for Andre Ward, who's trying to get back on track after a very long layoff. He was considered by a lot of people number 2 pound for pound. So you got to get back in the mix with these guys. Next question. This next question comes from IROH. I don't know how to pronounce that. Would it surprise you if the media casual fans favor Floyd to win since they have been so fixated on calling him a coward all these years? Personally, no. Nothing really surprises me nowadays in boxing, especially with the internet and stuff. You get people who talk reckless and stuff, and when it comes time to do it, you know what I mean, they would never say the things they say online, or they would never bet a large sum of money to back up the things they say. So people talk, and Floyd Mayweather, he's at the pinnacle of the sport. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes on him. People kind of focus and hone in on his every move. So I think a lot of people don't like him. I think it's a combination of different things. Racism, some people may not like him, like a black man in charge. I think it's also some people hate his demeanor, burning money, acting arrogant and flashy. Like, oh, he's too cocky. I don't like that. And they don't like the showmanship aspect of Floyd Mayweather. And then other people, I think, just because he's calling himself TBE and he's considered elite, he's considered number one, he's considered great, and that has been the case for years. He's been in the sport for 18, 19 years as a pro. So some people just want new blood. They just want to see someone else take the crown, and for that reason they'll hate. So I don't really get shocked when I read all kinds of outlandish comments, because I think at the end of the day, people really know what it is. They know he's a gifted fighter, and despite what they say, I honestly feel whether you're tuning in to see him get knocked out or whatever you're buying, you still tune in, you still watch. And ultimately, I don't believe in the bottom of their hearts a lot of people that say these crazy shit like, oh, he's the biggest bitch, and like he's the worst fighter, active fighter, just crazy outlandish comments like he has no skill. I don't think they honestly believe that. And you get glimpses of it coming out, because I've seen people when he beat Canelo, they tried to take away from his win. They said, oh, he was running all night, right? And then you see Canelo Lara, some controversy with the decision in that fight. And Lara, let me tell you, Lara, I don't like to use this whole running thing, but I guarantee you he used a lot more movement than Floyd. There was pockets where Floyd was just banging with Canelo, and he tried to walk him down early. So Lara by far used a lot more movement, motion, lateral movement than Mayweather ever did. And some of the same people that were saying Mayweather ran gave Mayweather credit after the Lara fight. They were like, oh, Mayweather didn't even run like Lara ran. Lara's a real runner. Mayweather just beat Canelo. You know what I'm saying? And those are the people you have to be weary of in the sport of boxing, because people get mad at me. They say I'm biased. I hate this and that. But guess what? I speak my mind, and I'm always able to support what I say. And the last thing is I'm consistent. Some people aren't consistent. You can't say, oh, he ran, and then later on switch it and stuff. And again, those are the fans you have to watch out for, because they're willing to say whatever. Next question comes from Cali Filipino. On a scale of 1 to 10, your level of shock if Pac or May gets injured. Laugh out loud. Hell no. Don't even jinx it. I don't even want to think of that. I would be absolutely pissed. I'll probably go to never mind. I'll probably get arrested for saying what I was about to say. But yeah, I don't even want to think about that. So I wish those guys good luck in their training camps and perfect health, because we waited way too long to be dealing with some extra shit like Devin Alexander and Kell Brook. That fight that was supposed to happen still hasn't happened. Next question from Kerry Phillips. Who you have winning, Kell Brook versus Marquez? My matchmaking. Keep up the good work. I love the videos. God bless. God bless you. Honestly, I would say Kell Brook, actually. I think his youth, his size, his power, and the fact that he's a smarter fighter than maybe some people gave him credit for. Sean Porter is a tank, and he came at him relentless, and he quickly learned that Kell Brook came to fight, and he was smarter maybe than he thought. A lot of people complain, oh, he held all night. I mean, what are you going to do when a guy's a fucking football player, relentless, and he's trying to stay on top of you, smother you like he did Paulie Malignaggi? If Kell Brook allowed that, then he might have got dropped or knocked out or whatever. But you have to, when someone's roughing you up, you have to combat that and neutralize that some way. So I think Kell Brook's smart, and I would favor him. The thing, I love Marquez. I've always been a huge Marquez fan, but the fact of the matter is this, and this is just a real comment from the heart. Marquez has had a great career, great resume, but I don't recall a fight where Marquez really just absolutely, damn, did a Floyd Mayweather stutter? I don't remember a time where Marquez absolutely dominated one of his elite names, like the biggest names, the marquee names on his resume. I don't really recall a time where he just absolutely wiped him out. Close in the Mike Alvarado fight, but if you watch that fight, he knocked Alvarado down, and then the very next round he got knocked down, and Alvarado mounted somewhat of a comeback in the later championship rounds. So he's had a lot of great fights, but his fights with Katsidas, he got knocked down. The Juan Diaz was a banger. The Pacquiao fights have all been like tug of war. So against a young, strong like guy who's gonna fight smart, I think Marquez will have problems. He's 40 years old. He's coming off of a knee injury, he's saying. So I think I would have to favor Kell Brook for those reasons. I think Marquez, his style, that counterpuncher and more or less patient, I think it plays and works better towards guys who come at him, who are aggressive. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Katsidases of the world, the Pacquiaos. Those are the styles that generally favor him. But when you could box a bit like Timothy Bradley or Mayweather, and you have like some agility, plus Kell Brook, like I said, he's big and he can crack. So I would have to lean towards Kell Brook in that particular matchup. Marquez is also short at welterweight. I think Kell Brook, I don't know how tall he is off the top of my head, but I just think the size, the youth, and the fact that he's also a good boxer who's going to be smart and not just stand in front of you and just slug it out, I think that would favor him. And the final question comes from Miguel Gomez. Yo, Ego, Triple G looked like some type of boxer / robot designed to kill versus Murray. Do you think he should move up in weight, or should other fighters move down in weight to fight him? Now, I'm not really a fan of moving down in weight. I don't think that really makes sense unless there's a couple exceptions. Exception would be if you just do it to make a statement. Pacquiao moved up to fight Antonio Margarito, and he felt like, oh, this is not really my division, so he set history, then moved down. Roy Jones moved up to heavyweight versus John Ruiz, set history, moved back down. Another example that I think makes sense to move down is if you get the shit beat out of you. Like Nonito Donaire, he realized that the featherweight's probably a little bit too big, too much from him at this point in his career, and he got stopped by Nicholas Walters. So maybe that's not the best weight for him. Maybe those guys can take his punch better, so he's moving back down. Same thing with Gamboa. Gamboa just doesn't have the frame. Maybe his power is not as effective at 135. He showed you that in the Crawford. He held his own. He did good, but then he ended up getting dropped 4 times and knocked out. So he's moving back down. Those are really the only exceptions where I really want to see a fighter move down. If they just go up to make a statement, or if they get beat down and have to drop back down into a division. So it doesn't make sense to me for Ward or Carl Froch to move down to 160 at this point of their careers, or any guy like that. Other than that, I kind of answered some of this. I would love to see Triple G fight the names that I said earlier in this video. If we're not getting those elite level fights, then what else is there to prove at middleweight? I understand trying to unify, but some people get mad like, Ego, you just want him to move up. Why doesn't Ward move up and face Kovalev? Yeah. But guess what? Andre Ward says I can comfortably make 168, and this is where I'm at, right? So if he wants to move up and fight Kovalev, that's cool. More power to him. but it was Team Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, Abel Sanchez. They're the ones that said we could fight from this range of weights to this range of weights. So yeah, people are saying move up if you can't unify. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of their fault. They said we could fight from 154 to 168 or 175, whatever it was, multiple times. So yeah, I do think Triple G should move up if there's no one else. I mean, who else are you going to fight if it's not one of the people that I listed earlier in this video? If it's not the Lemieux, the Canelos, the Cottos, the Andy Quillen, the Andy Lee Quillen winner. If it's not going to be one of those guys, who you're going to fight? You're going to wait for fucking Jermaine Taylor to get his shit together and fight him? You're going to fight Sergio Mora? So yeah, of course, I think Gennady Golovkin should move up if he's not going to fight an elite name, or they're ducking him, or they're scared, or whatever the situation is. Yeah, move the fuck up. Because you said you could fight at those weights. I didn't. You did. I rest my case. Let me know what you guys think of this episode of Monday Mail Days. Try to cover all the questions. If I didn't get to you, holla next week. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.